Blog Talk Radio.
Elena Radford was born in Peru and lived most of her life in South America. She came from a lineage that stemmed from an ancient Inca culture. This lineage of people possessed unique abilities that allowed them to see on many levels other than just the physical realm. Elena Radford had access to some of these spiritual gifts even at a young age. She had the ability to connect to other realities besides the physical realm, such as the soul, spirit, conscious, subconscious, and DNA. These sacred gifts have been carried throughout her lineage to her people to empower themselves. Elena wants to share her life experiences to allow her to bring the knowledge and wisdom we are seeking by telling us her story about how she became an Inca shaman and why she is so dedicated to empowering us in the new way of life that brings love and connection. She made contracts of love with her ancestors that allow her to channel and communicate their knowledge to the world as it is now. The message is that this knowledge will create a better world. Elena's teleseminars allow her to teach some of these techniques. Please visit www.elenaradford.com for more information. And now, welcome to Elena Radford.
Hello, everyone. I'm just so happy to be here with you today and be able to bring a new message, a new understanding. And today we're going to be talking about the energy of punishment. The energy of punishment is no energy that works. And let me explain you why, because to start with, it's not a high frequency vibration. It's a low frequency vibration, which means, and I think this is a good time to explain what's the difference between a high frequency vibration and low frequency vibration. And with that, I want to welcome my light worker, the beautiful light worker, light being that I'm going to be channeling to explain this and to teach this heart to heart. Because the intention is to help you to feel the message today. So high frequency, when somebody's in high frequency is manifested in somebody who can be clear making the choices that he wants to make, or clear in doing things for love and doing things for passion, for self-expression and productivity. Like what our ancients used to teach us, the Inca cross was a high frequency symbol, love, connection, trust, awareness, acknowledgement. Those are points of reference. So when you are in those energies of acknowledgement, commitment, self-expression, and responsibility, where we understand responsibility being the ability to create what you want to create, it's because we were in points of high frequency. Low frequencies are points where you feel scared, and it feels heavier. When you're in low frequency, it's a frequency where you feel you're stuck. You're depressed, you cannot remember who you are, and sometimes you forget things as well. You know how we hear conversations and I don't remember things very often. It's because those are manifestations of low frequencies. Something has happened in your life, like a trauma, that can possibly went into the brain and reprogram something where we stay in a low frequency. And like I say, not to be able to remember things easily is one of those major impacts of a low frequency manifestation in your body, and that can possibly be punishment. Okay, so punishment is something that is in a low frequency. When we had experience of punishment, it comes how it gets to be created is because it's a survival tool. People go to punish to others because they're surviving something. They're surviving something that they cannot communicate, so therefore they have to impose an undesirable or unpleasant experience to somebody else. So, wow, with that said, it's beautiful the way how my light worker is communicating. Because this morning, I did not have the energy or the source or the tools to communicate this message because of something that happened last night. I was talking to somebody that I know very well for a while, and I haven't been really in contact with her, maybe 3 or 4 years. She has been a beautiful person who helped me to create several clients in the beginning of my journey. And for that, I'm very thankful to her. And I was not in communication for her because the Spirit told me to stay away from her for a while, because sometimes you get to witness the development of your clients or the people that work with me or with you when you keep your distance and be able to observe the development. And so last night I had a beautiful conversation with her. And while I was sharing, my desires, my knowledge, and the different things, and also listening with the space where she was, some of that energy stayed with me last night. And so when I went to sleep, I hugged my son and I kissed him, and I was so thankful for having the abundance I have in my life. It was a very beautiful feeling. And when I went to sleep, I kept thinking, and the low frequency, the conversation with this woman kept coming into my space. So by 2 o'clock in the morning, I was planning to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was going to channel and get ready some of the things that I need to get ready for the next products that are coming. And it's not something I do every day. It's something that I usually welcome to do once in a while, to be able to be in the quiet space, to be able to create something that high frequency where I get to feel my energy. But by 3 o'clock in the morning, I can feel her energy stronger and stronger in my body. I was feeling her, who she is, in her conversation. And the more I listened to that, and obviously I couldn't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and 6 o'clock is not a problem, but it was 7:30 in the morning, and I was already still in my bed, and I was not very, very, very full of energy, and I was tired, and I was like not angry, but with a lot of fear. And so my son came to me and said, my back is hurting. So, and usually put my hand and have this energy of excitement to be able to be there for him and to be able to help, see what's going on with his back. And this time I didn't even have the energy, but this time I realized I was being a different person. I was being the person. I was being the energy of the other person. And so I usually take some time to be able to analyze that. I already felt the opening, the energy of somebody else in my body, and because I know myself in a way that I knew that some of the things I was doing was not my energy. So I started observing this energy, and this is when I felt I could not connect with my light workers. I could not connect with myself. I was in a very sensitive and vulnerable energy and kind of losing my temper. And I was just thinking, well, to this point, it's not really my temper. It's the temper of this other person that I'm feeling, right? So, and then I started trying to figure out what is going to be this message this morning, because I usually get the information like 2 or 3 hours or 4 hours or during the night, and nothing was coming to me. And so I say, okay, so what do I need to talk about? What I need to talk about is punishment, because everything that I'm feeling right now is somebody that was punished when she was young, and then she learned to punish herself. And everything that she's feeling in her body is the frequency of punishment. So my light worker told me to explain something that she wanted me to explain today. And this is the beginning of the conversation in a lot of ways. In our society, when they in their times, when they look into the connection between the sun and the moon, they will sit there several days because they didn't have books the way how we did. The universe, everything that was around them, it was the energy, it was their books. They learned to read energy through feelings. So they would look into the moment of the sun and the moon during the day sometimes showing the beautiful moon while the sun was very strong. And they would look into the conversation of the sun and the moon. And that was their language, right? Because that's the way how they labeled them. So in the conversation of the moon, they can see the beauty of the female energy and also the male energy. In the conversation of the sun, they will see the conversation of the male energy. how they were overlap a certain level of communication. And it was really beautiful. And so that it was the way, that was their language. That's what we nowadays understand as the communication of the female. In those times they call it the conversation of the female and male energy. And the more I start understanding what were they talking about, what is so important to have a father, sun, and mother, moon, I start looking into the conversation of what we call nowadays the conversation of the movement of the energy of the proton and the energy of the neutron and the cells. Why is that so powerful, right? We have names. We see the movement through pictures. We don't understand the feeling of it, though. We really know so little about the love and the connection and the commitment between the movement of the cells and the sun and the moon had that information. And so the Incas were really good in doing that. And the reason why we know so little about in these days is because we empower and we brought into our culture something that one of the biggest damage, and that's the energy of punishment. Imposing something, creating pain in someone. We believe that if we can punish someone and we can create enough pain, that person will wake up to that. And in that, we're separating our understanding, the energy that they had, which was the understanding, the feelings of the creation, the protons and the neutrons. We separated that. And I know as a society we want to, we have research development labs and centers of healing centers, like to heal cancer, to kill, all these different diseases that are being presented in our society. And we spend a lot of money on that. But the next level is if these people can understand the feelings and the lessons that come in the separation of the cells, which is the separation of the proton with the neutron, then it will be, they'll understand the punishment was one of the sources of the separation of communication between both of them. So, conflicting pain to teach a lesson, or just making things worse. Another separation, another manifestation of that, because I get to deal with so many people, like my client last night, I'm still feeling her energy inside of me. We look for outside sources that can make us feel that we have that connection of the cells, and people get to feel it for a little while. Alcohol is a good way, but another better way that society created these days is misuse with the energy of the drugs, and in the energy of the drugs, they're looking for that connection, and then they don't realize that they're incentivizing more and they're creating more the energy, or increasing the energy of the punishment. Because after they go through the process, like I'm feeling in my body, they separate even more pieces that are inside of the protons and neutrons. And that's what we get to call in the work that I do, soul fragmentation. And that's what I was seeing, like around 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was feeling her energy. Okay, I cannot reject it, because it was so inside of me, because I allowed it to come inside of my body, because I could feel her sorrow, and I was just trying to overcome that. But then there was something for me to learn. So when I started realizing, accepting more, the understanding that I had to go, and I don't suggest this for everybody. You have to have a specific training for that. But I went into her energy, and I saw what was really happening. It's the constant punishment that she's putting on herself without even knowing this is what she's doing, through the energy of judgment. Judging herself so hard, and that was her way of punishing herself now. And as a consequence, she couldn't build anything in her life. A woman that had a beautiful heart. And like I said, it's not only her, but I get to work with so many clients that have beautiful hearts, but they cannot put anything together in their life because the energy of punishment, the low frequency of the energy of punishment does not let them to create the abundance that they're looking for. So yeah, the first step is to realize that teaching other people, imposing pain, and unpleasant situations is not the way to go. It will come back to you. If that's the way you're choosing to create, it will come back to you. Because to the frequencies that we're going, it is faster what's coming back to you. So for the people who, for all of us, hey, I'm not an exception. I have to look into my life into how I'm still empowering those teachings of the 3D, punishment. Am I punishing myself? And I realize one of the ways I punish myself is when I slow down myself. When I see great possibility coming to me, I put my brakes because I'm afraid to make a mistake because of the memories of the punishments that happened to me when I was young. So now I have to overcome that. And I give energy gifts to myself, and I go into the space and say, okay, and this is why I get to give this energy to you today. No more putting brakes because of the punishment that was created to you. If you're punishing yourself, it's because that's what you learn from others. This has been part of our culture. The sun and the moon cannot work together. When you're in the energy of punishment, like my light worker is saying, you cannot see the moon sometimes when the sun is creating beautifully. Sometimes you're driving, you get to see the moon and the light of the sun, and you think it's the most beautiful thing. That's abundance. And if we are in the energy punishment, we cannot feel that. So therefore, my light work is giving you this energy gift. But before he wants to explain that, he was telling me about a miracle, right? So here is beautiful that in our society we're trying to find all these new ways how the protons and neutrons get to work, How do they get to function? Why they're so powerful, why they're so the foundation of who we are. Well, the Incas and our ancestors have not stopped their work. They have done a miracle and a beautiful research and development and creating new process. The last year, and when I witnessed this was so beautiful. Well, in the time of the 500 or 600 years ago, they would look into the energy of the sun as being the energy of the male energy, and the moon being the female energy. They knew that in the higher consciousness, where they're at, which is in the energy of the heart, they can make a shift that can help us to awaken. And that's what we're awakening so far to these things. If we wanted to teach something beautifully, then they chose to change the roles. And the energy of the moon took the role of the energy of the female, and the energy of the sun took the role of the female. So by changing roles, they can understand each other. They can relate to each other. And when that shift happened, it was in the month of August or July 2 years ago, that's when people start awakening more into, I don't want to teach creating pain. It hurts too much. And then we start seeing all these changes going in the world. That was one of the big steps, one of the rocks, the foundations that were created by our ancestors. They're still working. And that's why the energy gift I'm going to give to each one of you is going to be an awakening energy in a very powerful way, in a gentle way. Because we don't teach to punishment. We teach through love. And this energy is the energy of my ancestors. The energy gift of teaching you and allowing you to go into teaching others and teaching yourself without having to create pain on you, without having to create punishment. Let's be a stand of creating with love. So here's the gift. So everybody place your hand like you're going to receive something, okay? And a lot of you are not going to say it. And that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not there. So again, place your hand like you're going to receive something. And bring that into your heart. By bringing that into your heart, I want you to envision yourself feeling the frequency. Allow that to teach you that you can create with love. And when you choose to do that, if that's what you choose to do, because we also bring in the energy of choices, how important it is to create with choices. There you go. And you can say 3 times, I receive, I receive, I receive. And let that fear that's inside of you, that welcomes punishment, to take a different road, a different way. So when you teach, or if you remember, or programs in your mind have to do with punishment, things that happened to you when you were a child, let's start erasing that with love and bring you back into your power and your high vibration of possibilities and manifestations. And that's the message for a better world. That's what my light workers say. Thank you for being with me today, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You have been listening to My Life as an Inca Shaman. For more information about our programs, please visit our website, www.elenaradford.com.